This afternoon I'm delighted to be joined by Lyndell Stein. Lyndell and I have known each other for a long time, and Lyndell has worked with a number of DEC member charities, ActionAid, Care and Concern over the years, as well as volunteering at the DEC. So Lyndell got back from Cox's Bazar just yesterday, where she's been for the past few days. What took you out to Bangladesh, Lyndell?
Well, it was a slightly unusual trip in that I met my great friend and colleague, Shahid Al-Alam, who is a wonderful humanitarian, a brilliant photographer, and a really active citizen in Bangladesh and in the world. He took the marvellous photos that you'll see behind me that I think really bring to life the human tragedy in Myanmar and, of course, in Bangladesh at the moment. And I met him for a coffee. He was working in London, and he said how concerned and worried he was, and asked me would I go and give him some help, because he really wanted to make sure that the story that's happening in his own country could be told to the world with the most powerful images, a really strong story to bring people into understanding what's happening and to be able to support people, the Rohingya people who really need our help so badly at the moment.
And you know, you've over the years, I know, have been to many disaster zones and seen some terrible things. But what struck you about what you saw on your visit there?
I think what's really tragic and overwhelming about the situation is that people have moved so quickly, so many people with such terror behind them. It's not so much that they have planned to move because of a disaster and they've had a chance to gather their breath and made a considered decision. They have fled in terror. Children, very old people, heavily pregnant women. There's a lot of pregnant women who've had to make a really awful, terrible, frightening journey. And they're carrying with them so little in terms of physical assets and possessions. And they're carrying so much in terms of their pain, their terror, and the loss of their land, the loss of their loved ones, the loss of their homes. And it was so sad to stand just across the river and see in Myanmar the villages still burning. And a local Bangladeshi told us that they see 20 such fires a day.
So the fires are still going on?
They're still going. We saw them one of the days we were there, but they're happening every single day.
And so people are still coming across the border?
Many people.
We heard that just 10,000 have come over in the last few days, that still continue to come.
And I think, the people of Bangladesh are welcoming them. I mean, local people help in whatever way they can, giving a banana here, some food there, offering some shelter. And of course the Bangladeshi government are making tremendous efforts. And our DEC agencies are there on the ground doing their best, but it is unprecedented in terms of the scale. In a matter of weeks, 500,000 people have fled in terror. And they've arrived just, to nothing, really. I mean, now there are facilities that are being developed, but when they first came, it was without anyone really knowing what was happening.
And so I know that we've spoken a lot about the numbers of people, and behind every single one of those numbers, behind every one of those 520,000 people is an individual story. And I know that you met some people. There's a woman on the screen here with her leg bandaged. Can you tell us about her?
Well, this is Sanamora, and this young woman was shot 3 times by the military, fled her village, and also lost 2 of her 3 children, gone forever. And even though we met so many people who told us their story, she was, as you can imagine, completely traumatized.
Yeah, she looks it from that picture. And here's another, just a child bandaged up. What has happened in this picture?
This little girl is 9 years old. Her name's Nicola, and her father was with her, and he described how the village that they lived in was attacked one night, and they lost their little girl. They fled and crept up into the village the next morning to try and find her, and she was there lying on the ground. She'd been beaten by the military with rifle butts until her leg was broken. And again, not only did she have to bear the physical pain of her broken leg, she was a small child. She is a small child, but she also has to bear the pain of the trauma and the fear that you can still see in her face.
Like, you can see the trauma there. Actually, it's something that one of the aid workers said to me just the other day, was for all the people there that it's surprisingly quiet at times, and there's not so many children laughing and playing because they've all seen such terrible things, and that it's slightly eerie, the silence.
I think that's true. I think I met some people who are working with traumatised victims, and they had one young woman, very young, 14, who had been rendered completely mute by the trauma and the violence that she'd seen. And I think one of the other really heartrending parts of what is happening in this disaster is that there are so many lost children. I met a mother who had lost her children, weeping piteously, and I met a little tiny child who had lost their parents. And I think that's, the children are short of food. The situation in terms of their health is perilous because nobody has yet had the time, though there are tremendous efforts in place, to really get the sanitation sorted out. And one of the aid workers said to me they were so frightened about the rise of cholera, measles, and also the possibility of polio re-emerging in Bangladesh. The Bangladesh government has made tremendous efforts and eradicated it. So we need to help to prevent disease, to provide food for families and children, and we also need to make sure that we're providing a better environment for them to be in, so that they can be safe.
And the British public have been incredibly generous so far and donated £9 million, and DEC member charities are using the money as we speak. And did you see the DEC members in action when you were there?
Yes, indeed. I saw at least 6 or 7 of our wonderful DEC agencies who are there really scaling up and organising in an intelligent way their work. But I think the problem is because so many people have come so quickly that we really need to scale up what we can do from this side, which is as concerned citizens, to help those children and those families. The Rohingya people have very few friends, and we must be their friends and help them because they really have absolutely nothing. They've lost everything.
So as Lyndell has so eloquently explained, the needs of the Rohingya people who have fled from Myanmar into Bangladesh are so overwhelming. And not only are they material needs, but there are psychological needs to recover from the trauma, especially the trauma that young children have witnessed. And we really, really do need your support. So please do continue to give generously. The needs are great and they will go on for a long time, but every pound that you donate will be used wisely and well. So please do continue to donate, and the British government continues to match your donations pound for pound. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again tomorrow.